Hello again, this is Joshua Ben David, just continuing on with these visions that the Lord Almighty gave me back in February of 1988. As I was saying before, in the first vision, I left from Port Angeles to go to Victoria. I might make mention that in the visions, it was about 4:45 in the morning, and I got up and used the restroom in Bangs, Texas, there, where I was staying. And when I came back and laid down on the Davenport, my body became stiff like a board. And as the visions came in, I would roll from one side and to the other, and this happened 3 times. As far as time, I was conscious of the present time. My eyes were open, but my body was frozen. I couldn't move a muscle, and this continued for a full 45 minutes. And as my eyes were open, I was seeing a video of the visions happening, and at the same time I was partaking of the vision and walking in the fullness of the spiritual senses. You just had a knowing that goes way beyond that of human comprehension, beyond the human abilities of the 5 senses. All right, continuing on. I remember getting off the ferry. I was still dressed in black, and I had in my right hand, I remember I was carrying a black attaché case, and I had a passport in that. And at the time of the visions, my passport was expired, and I have a passport now, just a couple years old, and that's part of the timeline, I believe. I remember that they pushed me through customs. They didn't want nothing to do with me. And when you're walking in the Spirit like that, when the fear of the Lord is upon you, it was like people around you, they know that you can see where they're coming from, that you can see their innermost secrets, and they just don't want to be around you. It's not you, but it's God in you that's giving you the these abilities. And I remember walking from the ferry docks in downtown Victoria, and I remember walking about 5 minutes, like a hard pace, and I remember walking maybe a couple blocks or so, and I came to this corner where there was a newspaper office. I can still see it in my mind, and in my mind's eye there. It was located on the main street, right on the corner. One of those, smaller, like a smaller business. I remember just walking in there, and I seen the counter here. There was a rubber tree here. The window was here, and over here there was a clock, and it said 25 minutes after 8 in the morning. And I remember I saw a woman. She was there behind the desk, and through the back door over here, there was 2 women sitting down there, and they're sipping their coffee like they were finishing their second cup of coffee. It seemed like it was a Monday morning. In the visions, I knew that it was Saturday. It was a Saturday revival meeting, and I came back flew to Seattle that same night, and took the ferry over. And I remember I walked in, and I was still dressed in black, and I said, there's going to be a 7.4 earthquake 20 miles west of Vancouver Island. And I seen their faces, and their faces went into sheer shock. The fear factor went from here right up to here, right up to 7 points, up to 70%. And I said, you need to warn the people. You need to warn the west side of Vancouver Island that you need to evacuate, because God in His mercy is going to send a 6-foot tidal wave. And when they heard the tidal wave, that's when the panic was even more severe in their hearts. And anyway, I left, and I came back at 2:30 in the afternoon. I don't know where I was between those times. I remember coming back at 2:30, and all of a sudden, standing over here by the window, by that rubber tree, and the phones went dead. And all of a sudden, the phones rang off the hook, and it was reported that a 7.4 earthquake had happened. It could have been 7.3, but around that, around that magnitude. And there was a six-foot wave that came in, but it was a series of waves that came in, and it totally smashed all vessels on the west side of the island. And I remember I met a rich man. He was a very wealthy believer in Victoria. I don't know his name. All I know is that the Lord told me to tell him, you need to get your assets off the island. You need to put them into hope. You need to transfer all your assets and do it right now. Otherwise, you're going to lose everything that you have. And I believe this man was responsible for getting me to Nanaimo here. And you couldn't get a car, you couldn't get a taxi, you couldn't get a bike. All vehicles, all of Victoria was in an uproar to try to get off the island. And then the visions changed. I remember rolling over like this on my side. And I'll leave the third part of the vision for the next podcast.